Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, April 26th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Thursday night was the beginning of a special town meeting. There are 21 articles on this warrant, and town meeting members tackled 6 of them within the first night. The night began with the swearing in of new town meeting members, as well as Congressman Stephen Lynch giving an address to the town of Norwood. Articles 1 through 4 passed by unanimous vote. These articles include provisions on liquor licensing, a petition to add a liquor license to the Skating Club of Boston, elderly tax aid, and a Veterans Assistance Fund. Articles 5 and 6 concern the mixed-use overlay district bylaw. There was lots of confusion on the floor during the near hour-long discussion. After some errors identified by town meeting members, it was discovered that there was a miscommunication and the documents between board members and town meeting members did not match up.
Is there any chance that we as town meeting members, everyone, we can get the corrected, up-to-date version, please?
I'm assuming that they don't have sufficient copies to give out this evening. Is that correct?
No, we don't have additional copies. I don't understand why there's 2 versions. The version that I'm looking at doesn't have the first typo that he mentioned, and so that's why I couldn't understand what was going on. So there were multiple versions of this as we kept editing it, and apparently there was a mix-up. I apologize.
Ultimately, with an incorrect document to work from, the motion was made and seconded to table discussion of Article 5 until Monday, April 29th.
So that will be, we will take up where we left off. Yes, in the back, right there. The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of tabling Article 5 until the next session of town meeting, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. All right, the motion has been tabled.
Town meeting will resume Monday, April 29th at 7:30. You can watch the meeting live on the government channel or online at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. At Tuesday night's Board of Selectmen meeting, General Manager Tony Mazzucco and Selectman Bill Plasko briefed the board on the bids received for the sale of Forbes Hill property.
Out to bid, we've received 3 bids. The dollar amounts of the bids, and remember, under the procurement process, we don't necessarily go with the highest dollar bid. We go with what meets our requirements and the stated requirements that we wanted. 3 bids, $11 million, $13 million, and $21 million.
Well, one bid did come in at $21 million. There were a number of caveats that came with it, including over 300 apartments.
The $21 million bid, I do want to just talk about from a moment that came from a company out of New Jersey. On its surface, sounds great when you hear the dollar amount to $21 million, and certainly I've been heard to say that I'd sell just about anything if the price is right. But when we dug into the details of the bid, there were a lot of challenges and concerns there. One of them is that it was asked that the town be on the hook for several $1 million worth of infrastructure work, both its construction of roads and utility infrastructure and then the permanent maintenance thereof, which is not something we generally do as part of a public procurement process.
The town manager then turned it over to Selectman Plasko to explain their recommendation of accepting a $13 million bid that would create a medical city, which would include a boutique hospital, medical offices, retail, and condos in more detail.
The principal involved here is Dr. Roberto Felice. He's an MD, board-certified anesthesiologist, board-certified comprehensive and interventional pain management. He's 25 years experience in development and implementing successful healthcare-related entities.
Plasko also mentions the Forbes mansion itself will have a key role in the new medical complex.
Likely we'll see reuse of the mansion as the focus of the medical city and used for medical offices or conference center. It might also be used in connection with a planned boutique hospital, which will be approximately 90 rooms.
The next Board of Selectmen meeting will be Tuesday, April 30th. Stay tuned after this break for an update from your town manager and for this week's Living Local.
Do you want to stay up to date with Norwood Community Media? Then subscribe to our weekly NCM newsletter. Every Friday, our promotions department publishes an online newsletter that highlights the work of NCM and the latest happenings. It includes the full episode of Norwood News, recent clips from NCM programs, behind-the-scenes photos, and so much more. NCM works hard to deliver a steady stream of Norwood content, and this newsletter is another way to stay connected to Norwood. To receive the newsletter, just visit www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page, click the Sign Up for Our Newsletter button, and enter some basic information. You'll then be added to our newsletter mailing list. It's all here on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood.
Welcome back. Town General Manager Tony Mazzucco talks Norwood High School civics, Student Government Day, town meeting, and sustainability in this month's Manager's Update.
Hi folks, Town Manager Tony Mazzucco here with some monthly updates. The town held its annual election at the beginning of April, and the Board of Selectmen said goodbye to long-serving Selectwoman Helen Donahue. We want to thank Helen for her many years of dedicated service to the town and her commitment to Norwood. We also welcome new Selectman David Hajar. The Finance Commission also welcomed new member Kelly Newmy, and this marks a first for Norwood where a majority of the members on the Finance Commission are women. Good luck to all other officials in their positions as we close in on town meeting and a new fiscal year. Norwood is participating in a program called 30 Days, 30 Ways, where we're encouraging residents to take a picture each day of something small they're doing to be sustainable and post it on social media with the hashtag 30 Days, 30 Ways and Sustainable Norwood, or replace Norwood with your organization, employer, or neighborhood. Student Government Day was this April, and we hosted several dozen Norwood students as they learned about town government and debated on how to best spend $1,000, with the money ultimately going to flu shots, lunches for seniors, the Model UN Club, and more. Kudos to these students for their involvement in a great experience. Norwood hosted a first-of-its-kind event this April called Bring Home the Bacon for Civics. Over 100 people attended a breakfast on Patriots Day to raise funds for civic activities and promotion in the Norwood schools. Over $4,000 was raised. Special thanks to Paul Angelo at the Old Colonial Cafe and the Bank of Canton for their generous donations, but in particular the Old Colonial Cafe for donating all of the food and the overhead for the event. Town meeting season is here. Budget and informational meetings are scheduled throughout April and May. Special town meeting starts April 25th, and the annual town meeting starts May 13th. Check out the town's website for information, and NCM will be broadcasting and replaying all the various informational and other meetings. The override ballot question is scheduled for June 3rd. Thank you, everyone, and here's to having a great spring.
On this week's Living Local, we are going to eat local. If you are looking for a great breakfast or lunch and a hometown feel, Mug and Muffin in Norwood Center is your spot. Serving up food to locals for over 30 years, owner Dave Monahan tells us all about this Norwood staple.
During the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the Mug and Muffin was a thriving chain of Massachusetts-based restaurants that were serving breakfast in 30 communities. By 1991, for management reasons, the parent company closed all the restaurants, and now they are all gone, all except for one. Dave Monahan began working for the company in 1970 and managed all the locations in the greater Boston area. The Norwood location opened in 1974, and Dave decided to purchase the Norwood location in 1986.
When I bought this, it was probably the best small downtown location in the greater Boston area. And back then, Klein's was open and Cheerios, and it was a thriving downtown. And it's a great town to do business in.
The Mug and Muffin is more than a place to get a bite to eat. Its recipe for success includes a friendly atmosphere that encourages conversation. And families have been sharing a good breakfast together for over 30 years.
You know, I think the Mug is, kind of a community center a little bit. Probably 85% of my customers are regular, whether they come in every day or once a week or once a month. 90% of them are Norwood people, which are great people. And what's amazing is here we are 30 years later, and the parents that were bringing in their kids and putting them in booster chairs in the 80s, they're coming in with their children. It's pretty neat to think that you've lasted this long in a small town. And I may not know all the names, but I certainly know the faces and most of what you have to eat. Now, my wife Sheila works full-time, and she is absolutely unbelievable with names. I mean, she, from the town, she'll have your food in front of you before you can sit. Sit and relax and have your first cup of coffee.
The menu at the Mug and Muffin is complete with all the standard and popular breakfast items. And over the 30 years, there's no reason for change.
The menu is a basic diner menu. If you go back to the 60s or 70s, I mean, we all have bacon and eggs, And a big item on the weekend is omelets. We have skillets, which is potatoes and cheese sauce and different ingredients. We just recently started making our own corned beef hash, which has been a huge hit. I'm amazed. I wish I had done it 10 years ago. It takes a long time, to cook it, prepare it, but it's been a huge hit, and it's still continually selling, probably 2 or 3 or 4 times what I was selling before. Another item that has worked pretty well is cinnamon swirl, French toast, with whipped cream, bananas, waffles the same way, but basic comfort food, breakfast comfort food. And it's, that's kind of been our success.
The Mug and Muffin has many regulars who have created a social meeting place located in downtown Norwood. The regulars know each other, and the employees know the regulars.
Jody Smith comes in. She's one of the school teachers in Norwood here. And she said, this is where you come and everybody knows your name. And I'm not saying I'm the only breakfast operation in town that happens, but it's true. And people talk, sit with each other, that didn't know each other 5 years ago, or talk across the aisles to each other. A lot of the people come in at the same time every week or, every day, and they become mug friends. I'm not sure they're friends outside the restaurant, but they're certainly social and talk to each other. Saturday morning in here is, if you want to know anything about politics, come on in, because that's the morning that we solve all the problems. So, maybe we could eliminate town meeting and just have a small meeting here every couple of weeks,
The Mug and Muffin is a Norwood breakfast institution, and Dave and Sheila Monahan have created a successful restaurant with a simple business plan with simple goals.
What I hope the experience that my customers have when they leave is that they've enjoyed the food. My staff has treated them well. The friendly atmosphere and conversations they had with the other people in the restaurant, and being in the heart of downtown Norwood for all these years, I hope that they're happy with us and they'll come back.
Wow, that looks good. After watching that segment, I'm a little bit hungry myself. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government. Welcome back to Norwood News. The Board of Health held its monthly meeting Monday morning in Town Hall. The board began with new business, which included discussion about marijuana and CBD. A food establishment CBD advisory and a parent CBD advisory plan were voted on and approved by the board. Next, an update on the regulations of the sale of tobacco products was given. Last, Segal Reese provided information about the Norfolk County Mosquito Control District's notice of aerial larval control. The next meeting for the Board of Health will be May 21st at 10 a.m. Monday evening, the Bach Automotive Group went before the Planning Board to present a proposal for 95 Moore Street to revert back to its original plan for the parking lot.
In a nutshell, you want to revert back
to the original decision.
plan. You want to eliminate, so basically you're not going to, if we do that, you're not going to have to do any of that site work or reopen
None
up
of
the,
the improvements
you
shown.
want to go back to the way it was.
Just
You're going to unload the vehicles down the hill
down at 1201.
and you'll bring them up over the hill one at a time,
That's correct.
either to this lot or
Or to
84.
The board voted unanimously to pass the request from the Bach Automotive Group. The next planning board meeting will be held on Monday, May 6th. The Cable Commission met on Tuesday night. Comcast and Verizon were both in attendance, along with Jack Tolman, our Executive Director of Norwood Community Media. Comcast gave an update on the status of the HD channel that will be provided to NCM later this year.
But Jack and I have been in some conversations because, as you remember, as part of the negotiation with Comcast and the town, there was a technology grant to help the town green, but also there's HD channel, which is, there's a side letter signed off on and authorized. It's 12 to 18 months. But Jack has some other news that he wants to share with you, but I just wanted to let you know that we're by all means going to meet that deadline, and the town will benefit from that.
Jack Tolman announced that NCM will be merging the community and education channel into one and keeping the government channel as is.
We already have the HD channel for Verizon. We're going to combine the educational access channel with the town channel. And some communities are combining and making one channel simulcasting. We do not want to touch the government channel. The government channel is one of our most watched channels. So we're not going to touch that. We're going to leave that alone. We're going to take the town channel and the school channel, combine it, and call it the community channel.
Okay.
The former school channel will be the bulletin board information channel. This is how it was, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, where we had the scroll, as we used to call it, or the bulletin board. So on that channel will be all the announcements that we get, the PSAs, but no programming.
Does that mean that you're going to have less programming?
Nope, we're just going to combine them all. You'll see less repeats.
Okay.
It actually will make it a better, stronger channel.
Okay.
So when people want to watch a government meeting,
Yeah.
they know where they're going to go. They're going to go to the government channel.
Okay.
Anything else that they want to watch, they know they're going to go to that one channel, and it takes 2 channels and makes them HD for Verizon customers.
Keep an eye on NCM's channels, websites, and social media for the date when the channel realignment will be announced. The Cable Commission will meet next month on May 14th. Wednesday night, the school committee gathered in the Norwood High School auditorium. Athletic Director John Longley took the stand to recognize the sports award winners from this past winter season. At 7 p.m., Superintendent David Thompson, along with Town Manager Tony Mazzucco and other members of the committee, gave their budget presentation to the general public ahead of annual town meeting in May. The final order of business on the night, the committee took the time to publicly vote to endorse a yes vote for the upcoming special election on June 3rd.
But I think now that all those pieces are in place, I think it's appropriate for us to take a position as a committee on the override. And so curious, looking for a motion or discussion from the committee. Maura?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to endorse the override.
Seconded.
All right, thank you, Maura, and seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? Okay. All right, then I'll just put it to a vote. All in favor? All right. That's a unanimous endorsement of the $5.95 million override.
The school committee's next meeting is May 8th. The Trails Advisory Committee discussed their plans for the upcoming Earth Day celebration, updates on their newsletter, as well as some potential logos for the committee. The next Trails Subcommittee meeting will be Tuesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools. Welcome back. Now let's toss it across the studio to our good friend Tim Rose to find out what is happening in the Norwood Public Schools.
Hi guys, I'm Tim Rose, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At the Cleveland School, Wally the Green Monster took time away from the Red Sox to talk to students about reading. Through an interactive show of dance and comedy, Wally demonstrated how to use sounds, actions, and imagination to make books come alive. The visit was the school's reward for participating in a month-long Battle of the Picture Book competition. The students at the Balch School had a presentation from the Guiding Eyes for the Blind Seeing Eye Dog Trainers, organized by Balch's school librarian, Christine Duffy. This was a culminating activity to Balch's all-school read-aloud of A Handful of Stars by Cynthia Lord. Lisa Bumbelow, the organizer and presenter from Guiding Eyes, brought with her 2 trainers, Colin Wright with his 6-month-old female German Shepherd Monarch, and Susan Fitzgibbon with her 10-month-old male Yellow Lab Kino. The students learned how valuable a seeing eye dog is to a blind person, along with the various commands the dogs have learned to follow. Students also had an opportunity to ask questions about how the dogs were trained. This was a learning experience for both students and the dogs. Students learned about how seeing eye dogs prepare for their job as service dogs, and the puppies in training were exposed to a large group of children, teaching them how to behave in a crowd with a large number of students. At the Callahan School, physical therapist Karen Hurley has worked with all of the first grade students to develop a sensory motor break. The students have been trained to do 5-minute posture exercises in the classrooms. This has enabled her to model the side sitting with the teachers so that they can implement it in the rug activities. This has been a lot of fun, and most recently she developed a partner handshake while sitting like a mermaid or merman. And students in grades 1 and 2 have been creating scripts and recording this using various apps on the iPad while working with Mrs. Majid. Let's listen.
I'm a fish. I'm covered with scales. I have fins and a tail. I am an eagle. I have feathers and I have a beak and I also have talons.
Play ball. Well, they might not be at Fenway Park, but students in Mr. Downs' 5th grade math class have been reviewing statistics and data as part of the math curriculum. And finally at the Callahan, staff and students surprised Mrs. DeAngelis during National Secretary Day. Everyone at the Callahan School appreciates all that she does. At Norwood High School, it's time for the advanced placement tests. Let's hear from NHS counselor Laura Giordano.
So AP is advanced placement classes. The rigor is a little bit higher. It's an added challenge for students to take on in their junior and senior year in some subjects. And they are recommended based on their previous classes by their teachers. So every May there's AP exams where they take an exam in their subject, and if they score really well on it, they could potentially earn college credit. The AP program at Norwood High School has been in place for years. The exams take place for 2 weeks in May during the school year. And looking ahead to next year, students have already been selected for their courses for the fall.
At the Prescott School, the 5th grade students enjoyed researching people of their choosing and creating clear and concise Google Slides to showcase their learning. Subjects of the research included sports stars like Mike Trout, historical figures like Julia Child, and politicians like presidents and senators. Additionally, students had to succinctly read through their slides and answer questions from their peer group. These are great lifelong skills, and the students did a fantastic job. The Oldham School is continuing its 2nd year of the PEER program that seeks to build relationships between students in grades 3 to 5 and students who participate in the PACS classroom. The program is designed and run by the PACS classroom special education teacher, Mrs. Bertone, and the school adjustment counselor, Mrs. Collins, with the support of the Oldham Parent-Teacher Organization. This year, there are over 50 students participating. Students in grades 3 to 5 were selected as peer models to meet with students from the PACS classroom once a week to engage in activities that foster social skills, communication, play skills, teamwork, and help build a community of acceptance and inclusion. The students have been enjoying activities such as being book buddies, sharing their favorite toys and activities with each other, cooperative games, and cooking recipes together. This April, students in the PEER program helped promote acceptance throughout the Oldham School for Autism Acceptance Month. The entire school and staff were invited to wear rainbow colors on April 2nd to support neurodiversity and acceptance for World Autism Awareness Day. With the support of the PTO, the Oldham School was able to create an autism acceptance mini library for the staff and students. Teachers have been borrowing books from the mini library to share with their classrooms and teach about empathy and acceptance of others. Well, that's it for school news. For more information about the Norwood school systems, please check the website, Facebook, and watch Norwood Community Media. Now let's go to Brian Dunn with the latest sports news.
Thanks, Tim. Welcome into the April 26th edition of the Sports Update. We also have familiar rivals coming back to town and some more post-graduation news to share. Let's get to it, shall we? We start on the track this past Tuesday. The Mustangs hosted the Holliston Panthers in a home track meet. Some solid top 3 placements in numerous events, including a 2nd place finish for Olivia Bodette in the 2K, and the 1st place finish by the 4x1 girls relay team. Aiden Mulligan dominated the dashes, both the 100 and the 400, but both teams dropped the total score to the Panthers. The boys 89-42, and the girls 90-37. Not too far off the turf, we have a Tri-Valley rivalry renewed as Norwood and Denham faced off in girls lacrosse action. Molly Barefoot and myself had the call for this double OT victory.
That quick step.
Oh, that goes in.
And it did.
Awkward bounce, but finds the back.
Almost bounced itself right out, but it works. Up to Caroline, who's looking for a shot and a goal. 3 different scores, I believe.
All right, Dedham comes in. That's a great shot from the top end there.
And we're looking at a 9-8 game.
I know that's a rule. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Really quick to get it off her stick.
Gets one in.
Oh,
wow. Okay, Norwood gets the...
Take it down.
Go for it. 1 through 2. Oh, she gets...
All right, in the sphere, so she gets the ball.
Right.
No pressure, Allison.
Coach is watching, she remembers. Goal. Big time goal.
Huge goal for Norwood.
That's game.
Huge win for Norwood.
Allie McDonough's game winner gives the Mustangs a 10-9 victory over Dedham in double overtime. Looking at how the other teams fared this week, some wins, some losses on both sides. Boys lacrosse also beat Dedham in another big-time win for them. Baseball could not beat Ashland as they are still looking for their first win of the year as they lose 9-2. Tennis loses a close one to Ashland 3-2, and softball continues to dominate as they shut out the Clockers 12-0. For more information on scores, you can check the athletics website at norwoodmustangs.com. And in some post-grad news this week, Kevin Curtis of the varsity wrestling team has recently made his commitment to wrestle beyond Norwood High School for the Bridgewater State University Bears. Congratulations, Kevin, and best of luck in your new colors. And that's it for me this week. Stay tuned to NCM on social media for updates on when sports broadcasts will be going live and playing on our channels. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you next Friday. Back to you, Kristen.
Friday afternoon, the seniors of Norwood took time to honor distinguished former selectman Helen Abdallah Donahue. Donahue served as a member of the Board of Selectmen for 18 years and served the town of Norwood well.
You know, Yogi Berra used to say a lot of interesting things, but one of the things that he used to say was, it's not over till it's over, and I really feel that way, and I think that that there's something new around the corner. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next, but I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to retire because I still love the town and I love the town's people, and it's a way of life, you know. So I just want to say again, thank you for everything, and thank you to the townspeople for letting me have this chance to be a part of it, to share in this wonderful, wonderful town that we have.
Thank you, Helen, for your many years of service to the town of Norwood. The Norwood Food Pantry is once again participating in Project Bread's 51st Walk for Hunger on Sunday, May 5th. They are asking for donations to support community-based programs across Massachusetts that help people access and afford food. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.